Hey, Jake.
Hey, Katie.
What's our spoopy book this time?
Gut health. Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of By Its Cover. This is a podcast where Katie and Jake, siblings, pick out books by their cover and consume them or read them or tactilely touch them in nice, spooky ways. And then we come on the podcast and we talk about them together. Just wanted to add some spooky in there.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, just kind of give the heebie-jeebies out there.
Really did give the heebie-jeebies vibe.
Touching books. Tactile. Everyone, I want you to hear this word, moist. Enjoy that if you don't like that word. Happy Halloween.
If you want to pay for this, you can join our Patreon for $5 a month.
Yes, where's the link?
It's in the episode show notes, but you can go to Patreon and search for By Its Cover. We're there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We love our Patreon
Subscribers.
Family.
Community.
We love our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned all about what people think about their mothers, and actually that's a full circle there. We didn't talk about that. Full circle of one listener recommending a book for us to read, and another listener responding about what their mother taught them.
That is a full circle.
So y'all need to get together, talk amongst yourselves. I know you'll love each other.
And you know how you can do that is by joining the Patreon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because our Patreon gives you access to nothing that would allow you to do that.
Are you sure?
We need to get social. I don't like social.
I don't want to do it.
I don't either. Anyway, today's book is a different style of book than I think we usually talk about.
Yeah.
And this book is called Heal Your Gut, Save Your Brain. It's by Partha Nandi, which is an MD, which is a doctor. And it's the 5 pillars of enhancing your gut and optimizing your cognitive health.
Can I describe the cover?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's got a squiggle from top to bottom, reminiscent of an intestinal tract, in the colors of blue, green, and pink in the middle. And overlaid on top of that intestinal image is a brain. And it's very cutesy, like nothing graphic or anything like that. There's, along the intestinal tract, there is an apple and a pill. There's a person doing Warrior 1, I think that is. There is hands holding something. Is that a plant?
Yes, it's a plant.
Oh, okay, good. It's a plant. There are people, maybe symbolizing community. And then a symbol of an arrow hitting the bullseye of a target.
Reach your goals with my 12-step program.
I am coming into this book with a lot of incredulism? Skepticism?
Yes, skepticism.
Yeah, anytime that there's a book by
A doctor. Yeah, so...
Which I don't know anything about the doctor or the
even
research
if you do,
involvement.
Even if you do. I think books by doctors generally is to get you to buy it, to believe it, to tell people about it so they buy it and believe it. It's like a self-help thing.
Well...
It's like a money thing.
Some books by some doctors are like that. There's others I've read that are very good, that are not like that at all. Like there's one that comes to mind of living with carotid artery dissections, and it's interlaid, like the book itself is interlaid with stories from the doctor and real life patient experiences, and so it helps bring kind of more, not awareness, but like in-depth understanding of what it's like living with these things rather than like just a description on a page on the NIH website. And that book's not selling anything.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think the only thing this book is selling is recipes in the end of the book.
Really? Okay, all right.
So, I'll get into it.
How did you pick this book?
I picked this book because I have a lot of gas.
Okay.
When I eat vegetables, my butt blows up.
Like cruciferous vegetables, like
just
broccoli?
Anything that's not meat. If I eat anything other than just meat, my whole digestive system is ruined.
Interesting.
Which is difficult when I'm trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle and not eat just meat.
Right.
History, I know all the listeners already know this, but I was on keto for 5 years. And I think that really destroyed my gut. But before that, I was even having problems.
Yeah.
You know, like I ate some vegetarian meal once, and it was almost like I've had salmonella poisoning or whatever it's called before. It was just like that. And this was before I decided to go on a keto diet.
It's like fiber overload for your...
It's like fiber overload for the diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after I went off of keto, I started eating more vegetables. And for 3 months, I was incredibly ill, gut-wise.
Yeah.
I was afraid to eat because my stomach would hurt so much. I'd get so much gas, and I can't just blow ass at work. And so I would hold it.
Not unless you work from home.
Yeah, now I work from home, so it's easier. Mute, unmute. So send us an email, by the way, if you fart muted on meetings. Yep, definitely want to know what percentage of our listeners mute and then fart, or do you try to sneak it out? Anyway, so I started eating vegetables. It was miserable. I lost a ton of weight. I think I lost 20 pounds.
From eating vegetables?
Over the course of the 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Really fast weight loss, very unhealthy. Then sort of things started to jive again. Like things started working.
Yeah.
And even today, like things are kind of fucked up. So when I saw heal your gut, heal your mind, or save your gut, save your mind, heal your mind, save your gut. Okay, let me read this. There's obviously things that we're not taught in public education about nutrition. So what's leading edge nutrition?
Right.
I don't know if this is leading edge nutrition or not.
Okay.
I don't know the reputation of this individual.
Okay.
But this individual introduces his story about his father having a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
This doctor is a gastroenterologist. And after his father had a stroke, I think around the same time, he was doing some research around gut health and the effects of gut health on your mind and your body, right? Mm-hmm. And how there's new evidence that suggests that there's a linkage between the microbiome in your gut. By the way, if you don't know, bacteria is living in your gut, good bacteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like put food in and
it's
put
not like
food
worms.
out. It's not like worms. Yeah, you don't have things in your gut eating other than bacteria.
But they're not worms, hopefully.
They're not worms. There's good bacteria in your gut and there's bad bacteria.
If you have a tapeworm.
Let me know where you got it. I'd love to lose some weight.
Ew.
So
healthy.
After reading this book about gut health, please send me your tapeworms. So anyway, the prognosis from the doctor about his father's after stroke care was bad. Mm-hmm. His father was never going to be able to use the left side of his face or his right arm and all that stuff.
Strokes are bad.
Strokes are bad. And it really inspired him to go and do more research and figure out a more than just causal link between Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, stroke, even autism.
Yeah.
The symptoms of those and your gut microbiome in your gut.
Yeah.
And so he's formulated a 5-step system, 5 pillars to a healthy gut that he wants everyone to know about.
Okay.
And that's sort of the next part of this book.
Got it.
He gives you emotions. Then he describes his program and how to prevent you from having the same problems, right? And I'm using a little bit of satirical voice here because we've all seen and heard about this new diet, this new research, this thing that might not apply for you, but you're going to do it anyway, right?
Right.
And I'll use the example, and this is a triggering example, and I want you to hear from you if this triggers you.
Me, or the listener?
The listener. I want to hear about it so that I can rub my nipples and read your email.
Listener, if you don't know, that is a throwback to a previous episode.
Oh, that's true. I assume everyone that's heard these episodes, no.
That's true.
Yeah. By the way, if you haven't heard all our previous episodes, now's a good time to go back and listen to our previous episodes.
Just pause right here and come back to it.
Come back. Let us know. Email us. Subscribe to our everything. So, where was I?
Rubbing your nipples.
Rubbing my nipples. So, when there was a big fuss about gluten.
Yeah.
And there's celiac disease, and there's people that are gluten intolerant, and then there's people that aren't, but it seems that they want to be or something, right? It doesn't matter what you believe.
Right.
Okay? Do what feels right for your body.
That's right.
Okay. But this book gives sort of those vibes, right?
Yeah.
But you get into it and you realize, okay, what this guy's actually selling is what we're all told by the doctor. Eat right, exercise.
Yeah.
And so his 5 pillars here are nutrition, movement, community, spirituality, and purpose. And the nutrition and movement, we always hear diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. That's how you're healthy, right? Unfortunately, the American food system is really kind of bad at this. Because you go to McDonald's and you're getting no nutrition at all.
Right.
But it's so available. You go to the grocery store, and unless you're going on the outer ring of the grocery store, everything in the middle is crap and garbage.
Yeah.
Stop eating sugar. Stop eating high fructose corn syrup. Like, stop eating that crap in the middle.
Yeah.
Go to the outside. Fruits, vegetables, and meats. And yogurts. So we all know about nutrition. Exercise, everyone's supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Go exercise. Those are very simple. We always hear about those. Community, spirituality, and purpose are interesting. According to Dr. Nandi's research, there's a link between the bacteria in your gut and the communities that you're a part of. And this is backed by research.
Okay.
Right. According to the book. And I didn't read the references. So according to this doctor's words, this is what it is.
Okay.
He gives an example of a tight-knit Italian-American community where they have conducted research on their gut microbiomes and found certain bacterias because they're part of a community. He also has his own patients where they do, they test the microbiome, they figure out what bacteria are missing, and then if they are purposeful in building community, they can see that those bacteria are starting to be repopulated within the gut.
Because you eat with your community.
I don't know.
Okay.
You don't spiritually eat. So the relationship between community, spirituality, and purpose seemed to be more hormonal.
Interesting.
Or I don't know if hormone's the right word, but, and I don't mean like the stigmatic thing around hormones.
Right.
What I mean is like you have really long named things that happen when you're stressed. Like you release endorphinates or whatever. And so your apocalypse and your endorphinates and your hypoglycolates, right? Things happen.
Yes.
You laugh and it releases dopamine.
Yeah.
You are on TikTok doom scrolling. You have lots of dopamine.
Yep.
You go off of those things and you get depressed because you're addicted to the dope. So when his hypothesis is that if you're intentional about building community, spirituality, and purpose, you're more resilient to things that are very stressful in life. And those stress chemicals impact your gut's microbiome.
Interesting. Okay, I can see where he's going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he describes certain foods that he suggests that you eat. Fermented food like kimchi, sauerkraut. He suggests that you eat... Kombucha, exactly. Yogurts with live active cultures. I learned something about fiber, which is really interesting. Your body doesn't digest fiber, but the bacteria in your gut eats fiber, and it's also used by your colon to pack your shit down.
I think that's pretty accurate from my understanding, yeah.
Yeah, so it wraps all that...
From my non-gastroenterologist understanding.
Wraps that goopy peanut butter shit in...
And poop.
And fiber.
Packs it.
Nice little packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, compostable. Non-plastic. Well, it probably has some plastics in there because plastics are everywhere. But anyway, nice little poop packaging. Cute. So eat vegetables as well as these fermented fruit.
It could be a fucking t-shirt.
What?
A little picture of a quote-unquote cute poop, and it
being
says
packed
nice
by
little,
fiber, like bacteria packing it.
Nice little poop packaging.
Yeah, cute. I mean, everyone likes the shit emoji, right? The shit emoji would not be possible without fiber.
That's right.
Yeah, because it would just be like diarrhea. It wouldn't be like the nice soft serve.
It'd be like melted.
It'd be like ditto.
Let's move on.
Anyway, this is going to be our family's favorite episode because we're talking about
probably so.
So anyway, you're supposed to eat those fermented foods. You're supposed to eat lots of fiber. Meat. He talks about cholesterol and the association with meat and your microbiome in your gut, etc. Meat is not really that good for your gut, which I was like, okay, that's not overly surprising, but the amount of meat we're eating is bad for us. And according to this doctor, and so he recommends sticking mostly to natural plant-based foods, not highly processed foods.
Not the middle of the
grocery store.
Right.
He does not want us going in the middle of the grocery store, except for things like granola and whole grains, right? Low processed foods.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the big deal.
Right.
That's really the whole thing around nutrition.
Just the same thing we keep hearing.
Which is, eat yogurt, drink kombucha, have a salad, minimize your meat and donut intake.
Yeah.
Sugar, by the way, I was listening to this, and sugar is all, when you're on keto, you're really focused on sugars.
Oh, yeah.
And I have always when I was on keto, I kept it down to less than 20 grams of sugar, focused on fats and a little bit of fiber. Fats, by the way, not so great, depending on the fat. Fats from vegetables, good. Fats from meats, bad. So that ribeye that I was eating every day, not so great.
Bad.
Bad. Which pissed off my doctor because my cholesterol is perfect. I'm sure there's other things wrong with me, besides the fact that I'm 12.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, thanks, Katie. So anyway, eat vegetables, eat your yogurts, eat your whole grains, and nutrition is covered. The community and spirituality portions of this were definitely more interesting because I am not a spiritual person. And so I was like, there's no way I'm going to subscribe to fucking religion for my gut back health, which is true. Gut bacteria health, yeah. My microbiome doesn't need Jesus. And so he mentions, okay, you don't need to go and follow religion. You could meditate in a forest or something, right? That gives you the same chemicals or endorphin release. Dopamine, whatever. There's more than one. There's more than just dopamine.
Yeah, there is.
He named them. I could never pronounce them, right? But if you go and you pray in a forest to the tree gods, it's the same thing as praying in a church filled with gold that they don't use to help people. I'm talking about Catholicism. So
that's a little bit of an attack to any of our Catholic listeners.
So Catholic listeners, if you haven't been to a very, very expensive church or cathedral in another country where there's poor people hanging outside because they're not being helped by the church, it kind of pisses you off a little bit. I don't think Catholicism itself is bad. I think that the institution that they're putting all this gold-plated church crap in, we should melt that gold down and help some people with it. That's my take. I think Jesus would have liked that. Anyway, that's really it.
Yeah.
Eat your vegetables, eat your yogurts and fermented foods, stay away from processed shit to, minimize the amount of meat that you intake.
I have a couple questions for you.
Okay. As an expert on this subject, because I now read this book.
Yes.
I can answer your questions as if I were a doctor.
The Italian community, the Italian-American community that they studied, were they centenarians?
I think so.
Okay. There's a lot of interesting research out there on centenarians.
Really?
Yeah, and there's some really good documentaries. There's a good one by Zach something. I don't remember what it's called, but they're called Blue Zones. And that might have been the name of the documentary, is Blue Zones or something. But there's zones around the world that produce higher than normal rates of centenarians, which are people who live into their hundreds.
Right.
So
and they don't have Alzheimer's and all that stuff.
Right. They are healthy 90-something-year-olds just aging, right? And there is, of course, likely some genetic component that has been passed down in these communities. But there's also really, to this book's point, I'm sure, a very specific, I wouldn't say specific diet, but a specific relationship with their food that we don't have in America and in general in America, in American culture, in white American culture, I guess. I don't know if white American's the right word.
I mean, you have Mormons, they eat together. Yeah,
I mean, the culture the Western culture connection with food is just not so, the way that we eat in America. It's like the standard American diet does not.
It's called SAD.
It's called SAD, right? Standard American diet. The fast food, all of that, we've lost that connection.
The processed crap.
Yeah.
And they're not eating together, eating in front of the TV.
Yes. Yeah. Yep, eating in front of the TV, which actually cuts off your ability to tell when you're full, because if your brain is but whatever. What I'm trying to say is that in these blue zones, one of the defining features is the way that they treat their food. And it's very much this they're making the pasta from scratch. They're spending time, with the food that they're eating, which sounds cheesy, but
Well, they're moving as they make it.
they're moving as they make it. They have a community. Like, they put a lot of love into the food and a lot of fresh foods.
Right.
You know, they're not going out to buy the processed crackers for, you know, they might be using their leftover stuff to make crackers at home.
Yeah.
And like how, and you know, there's a lot of research looking into like how much diet plays a role in that. So when you said that they were studying this group of Italian Americans, I was wondering if it was the centenarians for the gut health study.
Because this specific group that they were studying, for the specific reason, flour and breads and stuff, the processed foods aren't necessarily good for you.
Right.
But this group eats a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
And has no issues.
Right.
With eating that much pasta.
Well, they're making it.
That's a theory.
Right.
All of this is theory.
Total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And theory sometimes becomes fact, but more research has to be done.
Correct. Yeah. More research has to be done. So honestly, it's not going to be done by the time you die.
Probably not.
So just make up your own shit that feels good.
Yeah.
And polarize on that view. Don't change it. And by the time that you die, you'll convince yourself that you're right about something.
Yeah. Sure.
Doesn't matter. One of the interesting things, by the way, before we jump topics, when you talked about genes, genetics, not pants. When you talk about genetics, research, his research and his peers' research shows that you are not doomed to get Alzheimer's. You're not doomed to have a stroke or high cholesterol just because your parents or grandparents had it.
Right.
Now, in our family, we have Alzheimer's and thousands of flavors of cancer. Obviously, we're going to get Alzheimer's and thousands of flavors of cancer. And that's something that I was worried about. And when he mentioned genetics, I was like, oh yeah, I'm fucking screwed. I'm going to die. So it's more like 60-40. It's more, he doesn't say this, but the way that he implies it is more 60% how your relationship with food and community, spirituality and nutrition and movement is, and purpose, with 40% of it being sort of genetics. So you could be predisposed. It's kind of like, I may be totally off base here, but I was doing some research on bipolar disorder.
Yeah. Bipolar
disorder, you can have the genes of bipolar disorder, but not necessarily express it until some traumatic event happens. Yeah. And then you become bipolar.
I think that is the predominant theory.
Right.
It's like a gene that becomes activated.
Right. So stop traumatizing your fucking Alzheimer's genes by eating a sad diet.
Okay, it's funny that you bring up bipolar disorder, though.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend who's bipolar.
Okay.
And this book, I wasn't quite sure where it was going to go. Because, it's heal your gut, heal your brain or whatever.
Yeah, feel good about what I'm saying.
Right. And there is, from my understanding and, what my friend has been told, is that there is a growing amount of research into a ketogenic diet and the effects that change in the metabolic pathway has on mental health. And it first started, I think, with epilepsy. There's a very specific kind of epilepsy that is treated with a ketogenic diet.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, and so now they're finding that metabolic pathway can also help treat bipolar disorder and mental health disorders, because you're like bypassing the metabolic pathway that is like, fueling that. So I thought it was very interesting. My friend was considering whether or not to try it, but they already eat really healthy, this friend.
Yeah.
And, it's just, and it might not be a full meat ketogenic diet, right? And there's vegetarian keto diets.
Yeah, I did the vegan keto thing.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting to me. And I think it's easy, like, when you see stuff on TV and this, like, quote unquote growing amount of research into diet and health, I think it's really easy for us to roll our eyes and be like, oh, turns out red meat's carcinogenic.
Well, roll our eyes while we eat steak and a sandwich.
Yes, right. But I think that I'm really, really interested by all this research, and I think that there's a lot of value in it if we put aside that roll your eyes response.
Well, nutrition is such, it feels like nutrition is so marketed and sold to you. It's almost like when you see a commercial on TV, you get that roll your eyes, walk away thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go walk away from this until my show comes back on. I think that's at least how I think about or have thought about nutrition. And I don't mean just nutrition, but health in general. Like, don't push your crap on me.
Right.
Yeah. Which this doctor, it's interesting. This doctor is not pushing pills, which is great. Because most of the time that I've gone to the doctor, they're like, hey, I have 15 minutes. What kind of drugs do you want? Oh, you want meth? Great. Which, by the way, I was almost prescribed meth for weight loss.
Oh, my fucking God. Seriously?
That scared the shit out of me. I was like, hey, I'm having a hard time losing weight. And the doctor's like, well, there's a bunch of these drugs that you can take. They're really for like ADHD and bipolar disorder and borderline personality, but they also diminish appetite. And I looked at the names and they all start with meth something. And I thought, wow, I better lose weight, otherwise I'm going to go on meth. So anyway, this doctor's not pushing pills.
Right.
This doctor's recommending that you eat blueberries and other fruits. And honestly, that probably is not going to hurt you.
Right.
I was talking to a friend the other week about this, and they kept mentioning, I don't like to eat berries because they look like glycemic impact because they're diabetic. And this person is very intelligent, very much does the right thing.
Right.
For their body and for their condition. But I was telling this person that I often make the same decision. I'm not going to eat this yogurt because I've already had enough sugar today. Let me go eat ice cream instead.
Right.
I've had enough yogurt today. I want something a little sweet. Oh, I'm going to go eat a candy bar. And it has the opposite effect. Just eat the fucking yogurt, right? Eat the blueberries, eat the strawberries, whatever. So long as your doctor allows you to eat those fruits. It's way better than the alternative, which is the processed crap.
Yeah. So, would you recommend this book?
I would recommend this book. I do think if you are already convinced that your gut microbiome is important, and you're already convinced that you're interested in improving your health, you don't need to read this book. I think you could get the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the book is really spent on convincing you, which is true. Here's my life story. It's emotional. I'm going to spend the book convincing you that I am right, or that I have reputation in my community for being reputable. Yeah. So I don't know that you necessarily need to read this book. You could go look at one of the recipes that the doctor has recommended. It includes things like turmeric to reduce inflammation. It goes deeper than what we've talked about. Yeah. But I think this person definitely does a better job than I would at describing it. Cool. Yeah.
Something else that came to mind when you were talking about reputation is that there's a lot of, I'm curious, actually I take that back. I don't know if there's a lot of. I'm curious how much research has gone into the meat only for your gut biome. Because I've heard the opposite argument, that vegetables are bad for your gut biome and you should really only be eating a lot of meat. Mm-hmm. And that's better for your gut biome. Mm-hmm. And perhaps there's people that do better on one or the other, but I've just not seen that demonstrated in research.
It's so easy. It's so easy to go and Google this, and I will find you 5 ways meat is better than vegetables on BuzzFeed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just interesting when you mention reputation, because it's so hard to find good information.
Yeah. Without reading research papers.
A
research paper comes out, they take some little fucking nugget about it, and they blow it up into a whole industry.
Yeah. Did you ever see... Are you watching TV these days?
Not really.
Okay. I feel like I watch a lot of documentaries.
I hate documentaries.
Yeah, I love documentaries.
They're all fake.
No.
They're just like these books. They just want to push some crap onto you. Some
of them are good.
I watched a documentary about how keto cures cancer.
Oh.
I watched some documentary about how when you overeat, you get fat. So, well, fuck. Okay.
I have people comment on my YouTube channel that, like on my stroke video, because I had all those mini strokes.
Yeah.
That I should try this keto diet and I was on my keto diet when I started having mini strokes. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
And that's honestly a really important part of something that this doctor said, which is that we're each individuals, which is a really hard part about nutrition, right? I am trying to eat more vegetables and less meat, and I'm doing a good job at it. And I say trying because I don't know if I'll be successful because I'm trying not to blow ass during this interview. Because we're in a small room, and I don't want to do that to my sister. So I don't know how long can I hold my farts for, right? So I don't know if a lot of vegetables is healthy for my gut.
Right.
You know, or because long term, is it worse for me to impact my gastrointestinal system with lots of gas? Is that less impactful than eating a high meat diet for me? Right. So everyone's an individual.
So interesting.
Go to a gastroenterologist, get your fucking microbiome tested. They'll prescribe a diet to you. Go follow that.
Good reminder that we're not medical professionals here.
I am a doctor, medical professional.
He's not. He said he was in another episode too. He's
I am 12. I am always right. I am a leading doctor person in every subject.
Okay. There's your book of lies from Jake over there. The documentary I was going to mention was a twin study. They did a twin study with two different diets. One was they took twins.
Yeah.
And they put random twins on, like sets of twins on a healthy omnivorous diet and a healthy vegetarian or vegan diet. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then they measured a whole bunch of outcomes, and it was super interesting. Obviously, there were some conclusions about, like, muscle mass gain was a little better on the omnivorous diet, but the vegan diet had basically, like, a really profound impact on the visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs.
Yes.
That when on a vegan diet, like, those twins who were on that diet had a really rapid decrease of that specific fat, which is good.
As a man, I don't need to worry about visceral fat. That's more of a woman problem. I'm less predisposed to visceral fat according to the scale that I bought that's smart.
Oh.
Yeah, so I totally believe it.
Cool.
So I should just eat lots of meat.
Yeah, which is why you're trying to reduce your...
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
This is how the brain works.
Red meat. This is the way I've been eating my whole life.
This is how I eat I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I really want to eat something or change my diet or whatever, and so the breakfast is good, lunch is good, dinner, donuts. Every fucking day. I'm gonna give up every fucking day.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I think that's how a lot of people live.
It was a pun. But I think
that's
it
fucking
is
funny. Yo, that was lead.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right.
What's our next book?
We don't know yet, so it's going to be a little surprise.
I think it could be the spoopy one that you picked out. I'm so excited that you picked this out.
Okay.
I'm like beyond excited.
So we are going to, I forgot the title, so I'm just going to make one up. It's called...
Cunning Folk.
Cunning Folk. That's going to be the next book, which puts a lot of pressure on me to go read a book really quick.
Yeah, get it done, man.
Yeah. But it's not a big book, so it should be fine.
No, I mean, I was just so excited about this because it's one of my favorite horror authors.
Yeah.
And I love it when my brother picks up horror books.
I mean, it was a coincidence. I picked out the book. She saw that I picked it out, and she said, "Oh my God, you picked out this book by this author?" And I said, "What do you mean? I just picked out a book." She said, "I love this author." So,
yep. Total wonderful coincidence, and that's the one that we're doing next.
That's it. All right. I think this episode is long enough. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Cut.